today we are debating the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution, and I must say right at the outset that the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution comes nowhere near the 19th Amendment, which was actually removed by the former government by bringing it into Parliament. Now, the 22nd Amendment can be improved if the government goes ahead with the amendment that the Constitutional Council appointments will be done with the agreement of the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition. So based on that assumption, right, there will be an improvement. And also, I would say, if that's the case, we also see that some positives are that the Procurement Commission and an Audit Commission will also be included into the commissions. Public officials then would be appointed more neutrally because of the involvement of the Constitutional Council. We also, from our recent experience, have seen that the Governor of the Central Bank, who has been a political appointment, unheard of, Minister resigns and is appointed Governor of the Central Bank. Where in the world this happens, I don't know. But this is what happened in Sri Lanka. And therefore, even that is going to be brought under the Constitutional Council. Unfortunately, in the 19th Amendment, the President acted when making appointments to ministries on the advice of the Prime Minister, but now it has been reduced to consults the Prime Minister. This amendment doesn't come anywhere near the 19th Amendment. However, I might admit that if the amendments are properly moved, that there are some positive aspects in it. Now, we as a party, the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, we brought a 21st Amendment to Parliament. The fundamental basis of that amendment is the abolition of some of the powers of the Executive President. We have looked at 44 years of a presidential system in this country. And while there are positives and negatives, overall we have come to the conclusion that the Executive Presidency is actually been a liability because it hasn't been accountable to the legislature or sufficiently accountable to the legislature, and there has been abuse of power. So the 21st Amendment that we presented to Parliament abolishes those draconian powers of the Executive President. Somebody said, but then it has to be sent for a referendum. So what's the problem? The referendum means, apart from Parliament, people decide. But government has decided to ignore that. Therefore, they have brought in this 22nd Amendment. I would like to say we were proposing that clause 44(3) be amended by deleting the following last paragraph of the clause, which says, provided, however, preceding provisions of this paragraph shall not preclude the President from assigning any subject or function to himself on the advice of the Prime Minister, and accordingly any reference in the Constitution or any written law to the Minister to whom such subject or function is assigned shall be read and construed as a reference to the President. Now, why do we say this? What we are saying is the President has powers as determined by the court. The President holds the Ministry of Defence, but we are saying that we don't have to specifically mention that the President is not precluded from assigning any subject that he wants. I think it goes without saying what the President's powers are. And I don't think the deletion of this provision in any way alters the powers of the President. We have had an argument about this. And this argument needs to be seen in the context of the law and also in the context of political theory. This argument should be looked at. We look at the Westminster system. You have a Prime Minister. The Prime Minister can hold any office. But it will be unheard of to think that the British Prime Minister is going to hold the Defence Ministry or the Finance Ministry or some other ministry. No, the head of the cabinet is the chief executive officer. And the chief executive officer has the right to appoint ministers, to change ministers, to change subjects and reassign subjects. The chief executive officer of the Sri Lankan cabinet is the president of the country. And therefore the president of the country doesn't have to assign to himself any subjects. He doesn't have to assign to himself. He should be assigning it to the others. It is like being the monitor in class. The monitor gives different people different responsibilities and makes sure that those responsibilities are carried out, and to see if they are, evaluate them to see if they are being carried out or not carried out. Therefore, we were suggesting that this be actually deleted, that this provision be deleted. It doesn't alter the powers of the President. Silence doesn't alter the powers of the President.